Welcome to KMET 1490 AM ABC News Radio and the Southern California Business Report with Yvette Walker, a show dedicated to highlighting successful Southern California businesses and the people behind them.
Welcome and thank you for joining the Southern California Business Report on ABC News and Talks, KMET 1490 AM, 98.1 FM, and KMET TV. I'm Yvette Walker, live blasting our signal from the center of Southern California, serving a population of over 25 million. Get us crystal clear and on demand by downloading the free live streaming app on Google Play or the Apple App Store. As always, a huge shout out to the team. Mitch, Bill, and Sean, I love you and Happy New Year. And to our Special Advisory Committee, Bill Morris, UCI School of Business, Jose and Camila Rubio, thank you so much. Well, everybody, today I have just the distinct privilege, and I'm so happy to be introducing Captain Collin Sheehy. Captain Collin Sheehy is an Explorer Advisor for San Bernardino County Fire Department who is currently assigned to downtown at Station 161 in Upland, California, the same city where he grew up and currently resides with his family. He's the youngest of 5 children, born to 2 hardworking public school educators who stressed the immense value of tenacity and constant improvement. Collin has been a member of the San Bernardino County Fire Department since October 2003. During his career, he has functioned as a licensed paramedic, urban search and rescue specialist, aircraft rescue specialist and firefighting specialist, truck company specialist, and holds the rank of captain. Captain Collin currently serves the Benevolent Foundation as an executive board member and as a member of our Workers' Compensation Committee. Collin has 2 associate degrees in fire science and pre-hospital emergency medicine from Victor Valley College, as well as a bachelor's degree in fire service management and leadership from Columbia Southern University in conjunction with the National Fire Academy's Officer Development Program. Collin has faithfully served the citizens of San Bernardino County for the last 20 years and currently serves as an Explorer Advisor for Post 955 in Upland. The Explorer program is a community service organization that is administered by local fire departments statewide. The goal is to mold young people into civic-minded individuals who understand the importance of strengthening the social fabric of their communities. Thank you so much for joining us today, Captain Sheehy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Wonderful. So, you have a broad experience, and I had the distinct pleasure and privilege of meeting you recently at the Colonies Miracles event not too long ago at the Colonies here locally at the retail center. And, just please share with us what it is that inspired you to pursue a career in firefighter, being a firefighter responder and now becoming a captain.
Well, the short answer would be to help people. That's kind of always been my focus. Being a firefighter, to be completely honest, super fun. Like, I'm not a huge desk person, so I love being able to get out in the community, get to do something new every day, get to change the scenery. But in the end, it really just boils down to supporting the community that I grew up in. And the best way I thought I could do that and give back was to join an organization that is 100% centered on that. And that's why we became a firefighter.
So tell us a little bit about the Firefighters Explorer program, how long you've been a part of it, leading it, and, just kind of a general picture of what it's designed to do.
So I inherited the post about 5 years ago from one of my firefighters who promoted. And when he promoted, he had to go to a different station, and the posts are centered around specific stations. So I got the post about 5 years ago. And what I've tried to do is I was never an explorer. I've seen explorer programs in the past coming up through the ranks in the fire service. So I kind of asked myself a question. I was like, do I want to just teach these youngsters like the names of our tools and why we use them and how we use them, or do I want to focus more on their personal development so that one day when they're in the fire service, they'll have the tools they need to teach themselves these things. And so that's really what I did is I decided that the post should be more about developing civic minded individuals who are focused on supporting the fabric of their community through community service, and the importance of giving back. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's all fire service related. The post does focus those concepts through the lens of the fire department, because if any of these youngsters are interested in becoming firefighters, that's what we're going to do, is we're going to try to help them get to their end goal. But the post is just fine with them discovering that, hey, I don't want to be a firefighter. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a police officer. I want to go into the military. And we've had a few of those. And those are wins for the post also, because the post helped them develop who they are. It taught them, the value, or not just the value of hard work for hard work's sake, but how to accomplish goals and get where they want to be in life. So when they decide, hey, this is what I want to do, the post says, hey, that's a win for us.
Right. And so during our conversations, I've had an opportunity to really gather, the deep thought and commitment that you are investing in these young people, right? And I know that you share certain creeds with them. What are some of those creeds that you lean on the most?
Yeah, so we use, I call them isms. They're Collinisms. And so they're like little sayings. And what they do is they reinforce concepts, because the ultimate goal is to take these important concepts of personal development and ingrain them, embed them into the subconscious of these youngsters, so that no matter what they apply themselves to, fire service or otherwise, they'll be successful because they understand these concepts, even if they don't understand them on a conscious level. So one of our Collinisms is semper fortis, and semper fortis is Latin for always stronger. And always stronger ties into one of our foundational principles that we teach, which is the 1% work ethic. And the 1% work ethic is you make yourself and whatever you're doing. So in the fire service, it'd be like you make yourself and your skills, or yourself and your station, 1% better every day, so that in 100 days, you'll be 100% better than where you started. And if you keep with that, in another 100 days, you'll be another 100% better and 200% better than when you started. And it's kind of like the old adage of, how to eat an elephant. It's just one bite at a time. And so semper fortis kind of embodies all of that. And it even touches on a couple of the other concepts that we have, but we emblazon it on all our stuff, on our logos. I make sure that all the youngsters understand that the meaning behind it, if you will, the deeper meaning behind it, and that way I'm hoping that I can reach these teenagers, by embedding it into their psyche. And ultimately, it's just so that no matter what they apply themselves to in the future, they'll be successful, because that's what we want. Is we want successful people that know the importance of giving back to the community in one way or another.
I love that. I love how you frame it in that perspective, be 1% better than you were the day before. In fact, I was having a conversation with my son, and he was lamenting about the fact that, gosh, I can only do one pull-up. Granted, he's 13 years old. And I said, well, if you do 2, that will be a 100% improvement. And his eyes just, they lit up, because I think it's a matter of how you frame these topics and these pillars, which I love what it is that you're doing, because you're creating not only, these deep and very critical character gifts in each one of these prospective firefighters as they're going through this program, but you're also inspiring them and reframing their view of their potential, so to speak.
Well, and that's really kind of what it boils down to. Is I just want them to realize that nothing in life is truly impossible. It just requires that you put in the time and the effort. You're willing to make the sacrifices to get there, and the way you get there is 1% at a time. So if you just take that one bite every day, next thing you know, you'll be there. And when you looking back, you'll go, it really wasn't that hard, because I didn't try to do it all at once.
Right. Exactly. One bite at a time, inch by inch, and, just keep moving forward. So, what are some of the unique elements most people would be surprised to learn about the Firefighters Explorer program?
Well, it does give because, like I said, we focus everything through the lens of the fire department. We get these youngsters out there. We put them in our gear. We teach them what we do, how we use our tools. We set up drills. So, like, the folks out there might be familiar with the jaws of life. The tools we use to open up cars and real bad car accidents. And we'll actually do drills where they'll get to go out there and use those tools, and they'll learn the same techniques and tactics that we use to get people out in the same kind of situation. And then we do a bunch of other fun stuff. Right now we're trying to coordinate they call it a phase 1 container, which is where you actually take the explorers into, we call it a burn over container, and you light a fire on one end of it, and the smoke and all the fire gases and the fire rolls over your head, and we talk about all the science behind it. And we show things like thermal layering and all the total fire nerd stuff that we're into, but we show it to them, and we show it to them up close. And that's something that I don't know. I mean, I was never an explorer. I don't know if other organizations, other explorer posts get to really immerse people in what their future could be that close to it. If that makes sense. Like, I don't know if you get to, if you were a police explorer, I don't know if you get to go out there and fight crime, chase criminals over fences or something. Maybe, but I don't know. But I do know that our explorer post, we do our very best, not just to build these individuals into people, but also to truly show them, if this is what they want to do, hey, here's a real up close look in a safe and as safe and controlled as our job can be environment, and show them, hey, if this is really what you want to do, if you think it's fun to use these tools to break open doors and cut up cars and spray water on fires, then hey, this is how you do it. We'll show you all our tactics and techniques, and you get to see it all up close.
I love it. And so actually my first contact with the Firefighters Explorer program was when I attended the Tour de Foothills that took place in Upland, California, just about a month ago. And they had a table set up. There were about a dozen young gentlemen and one beautiful young woman, and they were there attentive, and they served as, first aid responders for participants of that very long ride, right? And so I was extremely impressed with how they responded and how they interfaced with the community. And when I saw them a second time, cooking up breakfast for attendees and children of the Colony's Miracles event that supported over 200 families, I was just left very, very impressed and in awe of how well they worked together, how polite they were, how aware they were of their surroundings, and how sensitive they were to the needs of their community. And, I believe that's the day that we met. And I said, oh my goodness, I want to learn more about this. And I want to talk about this program because, I feel like the more people that know about this opportunity, the more popular it will become, I hope, because it's a great program for young people that are really looking to, explore, the potential of a career pathway in a very practical and real world way.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I feel we have a really good group, and we focus just as a explorer post, we focus on creating a very high performance team. So I thank you for the compliments to the post. I'll pass them along. But not only are they a good group of solid individuals, but they are hyper focused on being a team, which is huge. That's everything we do in the fire service, and I would even argue in life, is a team on some level. We all are interconnected in some way, and we all have to lean on each other in some way. So them focusing on being this high performance team is what allows them to present themselves that way, is allows them to function that way. You mentioned cooking the pancakes, cooking pancakes for 500 people's.
Yes.
It's quite the task, hats off to IHOP every day for doing it, because it's not easy. And, but because these youngsters have learned solid communication skills. They understand the interdependency of how one hand affects the other. They are able to accomplish these tasks, I think, in a pretty impressive manner, as you mentioned, for where they're at in life. Because usually, there are some of the tasks that they're asked to do that I would even argue that adults would struggle with. So ultimately, I think it boils down to their their mindset, their moral fiber, and then their hyper focus on becoming a close knit and high performance team.
Right, because their attitude during the length of those events, I was just so impressed. They're so positive, attentive, and responsive, right? Even as they're cooking, flipping those pancakes and frying up the sausage and scrambling those eggs, they're just having a great time. And so I am a huge fan and obviously supporter of this program, but it made me so inspired and so happy to talk about this program. So, my hat's off to you. But let's talk a little bit about how the instruction is, how is it generally received during the beginning stages of this Firefighters Explorer program?
The instruction, what part of the instruction? I'm sorry.
Well, the training, the concepts of character and team building, and all of these more integrated leadership skills that you're focusing on today.
So, yeah. So we give them to them essentially one bite at a time, right? So we use the isms. That's one way to get them through. We use there's really three concepts that we have: the 1% work ethic that we went over, the flywheel concept, and then the 27-17 philosophy. And then we give those to them essentially one at a time. And we use essentially see one, do one, teach one is how we train everybody. So you watch how to do something, and then you do it, and then you teach somebody. And then that kind of linear teaching pattern, also we ingrain that 1% work ethic, the flywheel concept, and the 27-17 philosophy into that. And I would say that so our Explorer post is relatively small. It's not super big. So I think part of the reason everyone gravitates and grabs onto it is because everyone understands that they're a team, and everyone is ingraining this in themselves. And the new folks see the old folks embracing these concepts and trying them out and using them in new ways, so that they just naturally just grab onto it. And it's not something that has to be forced on anybody. They just have to be introduced to it and kind of steered in the right direction. And then the culture, this high performance culture that the explorers have developed through just the years of things like the pancake breakfast and the tour de foothills and so on, their trials in the training and such, becoming a team, everyone just latches onto that and they just fall right in. They see how well it works, and they decide, hey, this is really cool. I want to be part of this high performance team. And they just fall right in. They just grab onto it and they run with it. And then they find new ways to apply it.
Oh, that is wonderful. And how do you describe your efforts in the program? Would you consider yourself an educator, a facilitator, a mentor? How do you see your role, in the bigger scheme of things as you're integrating these very critical, pillars into these young people?
Well, being like an educator or a mentor, those are like, those are big terms. Those are exalted terms. I don't know if I deserve that much credit. I see myself more as a guide. Like, here's what I've learned in my 20 years in the fire service. Here's how I think that you guys will be successful. Here's the tools. And I really just want to steer you in the right direction. So I do use educational tools for sure, like the see one, do one, teach one. That's how the fire service and EMS, that's how we teach everyone who's starting. I use, so ultimately what I want the explorers to be able to do is be able to synthesize information, to steal a level from Bloom's taxonomy, which is an educational tool. I want them to be able to take what they know, a pile of tools, and know what the end product is supposed to look like, and then they have to figure out how to get there. So they have to be able to synthesize all that information and create something new. And that's kind of the bedrock of the fire service. We're always called out to solve a problem. We don't know what it is 100%. We always have incomplete information. We have varying timelines and so on. So we have to take what we know, the tools we have, and what we want it to look like at the end, and we have to figure out how to get it there. So that's what I'm trying to do with the explorers. I'm trying to teach them that is what they're, if they choose the fire service, that's what they're going to be doing for sure. But I would even argue that in life, it's the same way. If you want to get from point A to point B, you have to take what you know, the tools you have, and what you want the end product to look like, and you have to figure out how to get there. And then how do we get there? 1% at a time, right? So you just keep pushing on that flywheel. So that's how we kind of ingrain those, what you want to call them, isms is probably the right way. They're just concepts, right, of how to get there. But that's how I view my role. Is I say, here's tools, which would be the ones we've talked about. I'm going to give them to you, explain them to you, show you how to use them. They're always here at your disposal, and they're going to help you solve these future problems.
Right. And I love the concept of see one, do one, teach one, right? It's the power of three. And as we all know, even to ancient times, the philosophy of three in terms of repetition and learning, that's the way to really deeply integrate these principles into these young minds and, just make it part of who they are.
Yeah. And ultimately that's the goal, is one day, when they're adults and they're facing whatever trial life throws at them, I want them to be able to draw on this well of knowledge and tools and concepts to be able to apply it in the future. And that can be in any arena. That's a shapeless concept. It could be in their life, with their relationships, it could be in their professional world, or it could be just fixing the plumbing, whatever it is.
Even if you're fixing the plumbing, there's always 1% better, right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
And I think it's a very encouraging and manageable expectation, especially for young people, right? With so many pressures, but just knowing that all it takes is 1%. But when you calculate that over time, and it compounds, right? I'm sure it also compounds in addition to that. There's an opportunity, not only an opportunity, but the ability and the actual realization to improve, do better, and have those measurable outcomes as a result of learning these isms or principles or characteristics.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. The compounding effect, it's like year over year interest. It just keeps getting, the aggregate just keeps getting larger. And if you keep, that's actually what the flywheel concept is if you keep pushing, if you keep that tenacity up, if you keep working 1% at a time towards this huge goal, eventually the goal becomes easier and easier to achieve. And there's a point we refer to as breakover, and breakover is when you're actually pushing the same amount, but you're getting more return on the back end. So it doesn't feel any harder to improve yourself.
Right, absolutely. And that makes sense. And I think we need to be able to integrate more of that into all of our youth, especially today, right? It's been a rough couple of years, and reframing the world that we live in today with a very simple and manageable concept is just so critical today.
Yeah, I mean, I think people forget how many pressures, the youth of today face, just with the world that they live in. And there's not always a resource out there to teach these kinds of concepts. So if they're not intrinsically built into each person, then you may be ill prepared for the challenges of the future, for sure.
Absolutely. All right, so we're coming up on a break. For those listening, I'm Yvette Walker on Southern California Business Report on ABC News and Talks, KMET 1490 AM, 98.1 FM, and KMET TV, talking with Captain Collin Sheehy, an explorer advisor for San Bernardino County Fire Department, dedicated to developing teens and young adults into future leaders in emergency response through the lens of fire service, while simultaneously training our youth about emergency response techniques and foundational life skills as they prepare and consider for a career in the fire service. When we return.
Cal State San Bernardino is home to the only school of entrepreneurship in California. With globally ranked degree programs, you can start your journey today to become a successful entrepreneur. Learn more and connect at entre.csusb.edu.
City of Hope is driven to making a difference in the lives of people with cancer and diabetes. We accomplish this by conducting innovative research and providing outstanding care. If you or a loved one has received a cancer diagnosis, go to cityofhope.org to learn more about how our innovative approach could change your outcome.
Every 2 seconds, someone needs a blood transfusion. Be on the giving side. Livestream Blood Bank supports patients in 80 Southern California hospitals. Call 1-800-TRY-GIVING for more information and to set an appointment.
Hi, Ray Lance from the Diamond Center in the Claremont Village here. One of the coolest parts of a third-generation family business is getting to know the families we serve through generations. Once you experience our friendly service, our fair and transparent pricing, and our beautiful jewelry that we make to last a lifetime, you'll stick with us too. Come visit us in the Claremont Village or at Lantz, L-A-N-T-Z, diamondcenter.com and see what makes us different.
Ontario International Airport is onto a better way to fly with over 65 daily nonstop flights to more than 20 major destinations and the easiest airport experience in Southern California. Visit flyonto.com/Ontario to learn more about Ontario International Airport today.
Hi, I'm San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dykes. If you're looking to start an exciting career in law enforcement and make a difference in your community, we are hiring dispatchers, nurses, deputies, laterals, and many more. For a complete list of our jobs and more information, visit sheriffsjobs.com.
Welcome back. For those listening, I'm Yvette Walker on Southern California Business Report on ABC News and Talks, KMET 1490 AM, 98.1 FM, and KMET TV, talking with Captain Collin Sheehy, an explorer advisor for San Bernardino County Fire Department, dedicated to developing teens and young adults into future leaders in emergency response through the lens of the fire service, while simultaneously training our youth about emergency response techniques and the foundational life skills as they prepare and consider a career in the fire service. Thank you again for joining us, Captain Sheehy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Wonderful. So prior to the break, we discussed some of the basic concepts and, foundational skills that you integrate through this Firefighter Explorer program.
So there's three main ones, and the first one is the 1% work ethic. Like we talked about, that's making yourself 1% better every day. And then there's also the flywheel concept, which is basically if I gave you a 1,000,000-pound stone with a bar through the center of it, just like a flywheel on your car, and I told you to push on it to get it started, it would be really, really hard at first. But if you kept pushing on it, next thing you know, it'll move, and it'll move a little more, and a little more. And eventually you'll reach a point called breakover. And breakover is when the wheel starts doing the work for you, and you don't have to push any harder, but you're getting more return on the back end. And that's tied into if you keep working 1% at a time, making yourself 1% better every day. Next thing you know, that 1% will get you a larger aggregate return. And then the third concept is the 2717 philosophy, and that's iron sharpens iron. And as I raise my level of ability and I raise my level of awareness and output, other people see that and they go, hey, I want to be that good. So they then raise their level, and maybe they raise it a little higher. And I look back and go, ooh, I want to be that good. And then I raise it. And what it does is it's basically as iron would sharpen iron. It raises the mean level of output and performance that the team puts out as a whole. So everybody makes everybody else better. It's a relationship.
I love that. Can you share some ways that you have seen participants of the Firefighters Explorers program apply and integrate these concepts into their everyday life?
So there's a couple. Most of the explorers that we have are interested in sports, and so they do sports on the side. And a lot of them have told me that doing the 1% work ethic helps them stay motivated. It helps them push through whatever they're doing to make themselves better in that arena of their life. Some have told me that it helps them with their personal relationships, that they've realized that, they weren't paying enough attention to this person or that person. And so they were able to rectify it 1% at a time and improve that portion of their life. And then there's probably our biggest representation of that would be we had an explorer who was going for a routine doctor's appointment, and he was over at the Loma Linda Hospital just waiting to see the doctor. And the man in the seat next to him just keeled over, just went unconscious on the floor. And so he looked around, and none of the adults were doing anything. They were all just standing, sitting there shocked. And so what he did is he went down, opened his airway, checked for a pulse. Turns out he didn't have a pulse. So the man was dead on the floor. He, as the teenage explorer, told the facility staff, hey, go get the doctors and nurses. And he initiated CPR on that man until the doctors and nurses were able to bring a gurney and take him in the back for treatment.
Wow. And I mean, how did that make you feel, knowing and hearing that experience that was applied outside of, the fire station where they gather, or these community events where they gather as, direct representatives of the Firefighters Explorer program?
Well, I mean, there's a sense of like community pride from the fire service in general, that one of our own was able to help in outside of the context of being at work, right? So they were able to apply their knowledge, skills, and abilities to a situation without all their tools at their disposal. So that level of improvisation, and even really just the will to act, like feeling that it was their duty to do something, to intervene when everybody else was just kind of staring. Even at such a young age, he took it upon himself to act in a capacity that, he wasn't obligated to. He just felt that he owed that to his fellow citizen in his community. And so when I asked him about it, because the city of Upland actually gave him a fancy award at one of their city council meetings. I forgot exactly. I believe it was called the Life Saving Award. So he got this, good citizenship award, which was great. And, everybody felt really proud. And I was asking him afterwards, because he seemed kind of indifferent towards it. And I was like, aren't you happy about getting this award? And he goes, I don't understand why I'm getting an award for doing something I was supposed to do anyways. And that struck me much harder than the act itself. The fact that he has already ingrained into him that it's his duty to do these things, even at his young age, was much more powerful than what he actually did.
Right. I guess that is exactly, what it is that you're aiming for, right? And it sounds like you did a phenomenal job, because once it becomes that ingrained and second nature, to the point where he doesn't get why he's being recognized for doing what probably in his mind is what everyone should be doing right in a situation like that, right? I love it, and it's a tremendous and beautiful reflection, because I know myself as an adult, I would probably freeze in a situation like that, right? And the fact that he's a young man, a teenager who had, the clarity of mind and the preparation to meet that very scary scenario. I would be shocked and frightened by that scene. But he met it with a cool mind and clarity, and knew exactly what to do to, help this man that was, that had fallen over and was no longer alive on the floor. It's just remarkable. Thank you so much for everything that you do, Captain Sheehy.
Oh, no problem. I agree too that I was struck more by the poise of such a young man, to be able to deal with something like that, and then on the back end, not recognize what a kind of a heroic act it actually was from the view from the outside. Because on the inside, he was just looking out, going, "This is just what we do."
Right.
But everyone else viewed it much differently. So I just wanted to agree that I was struck by his poise as well.
I love it. So, for anyone that's interested in, participating or taking a look at the Firefighters Explorer program, can you talk a little bit about what the length of that program looks like?
Oh, sure. So the Explorer program is open to anybody who's between the ages of 14 to 23. On the 23rd birthday, you can't be an actual member of the post, but that doesn't mean you can't participate. But usually by then, people who are in that age range have moved on to the next phase of their career anyways, and they just stop by and say hi. They don't really actively participate in the post. But that's really all it is if you just have to be those ages. We take anybody who's interested. If you're willing to go to www.sbcfire.org, click on the Explorer link, fill out the application and submit it, you can be part of any of the Explorer posts. Now, our Explorer post is the one in Upland, but we have Explorer posts all over San Bernardino County. So let's say you live in Yucaipa or Yucca Valley or somewhere far away from Upland. Don't worry, we have posts much closer to you, so your parents don't have to do an hour drive 4 times a month to get you to drills. But everybody's welcome, literally everybody. You just have to meet those age ranges.
So, please talk about your goals for participants of the program on a broader scale outside of becoming a firefighter.
So that kind of goes back to the ultimate goal of giving them these foundational principles for life, right? So the 1% work ethic, one part of it is, I call it showing up. How do you do your 1% for the day? Just show up. Let's say your 1% for today is working out. Okay, how do I start my workout? Oh, it's going to be hard. Oh, the weights are heavy. They never get any lighter, even though I lift them all the time, right? So just show up. Just get started. And if you just show up and you just get started, next thing you know, 1%'s gone already. You've already completed it. So that's true. That concept can be applied to anything in life. How do I do something fun with the family today? Just show up. It doesn't even matter what it is. Go to the batting cages. Go for a hike. How do I visit my parents? Just show up.
Right.
What are we going to talk about? Who cares? Just show up. Next thing you know, 1%'s done, right? So you can apply that to any facet of your life, professional, personal, doesn't matter. And then if you keep pushing on that, ties into the flywheel concept. The flywheel concept is integrated into that 1% idea. And then if you're part of a group, that's really where the 2717 concept comes in, because that's a relationship between all the people in the team, in that as you get better, you make me better. Right. And what I really want for the Explorer post specifically for these youngsters to be able to take into their future, regardless of what they do, regardless of where they wind up in life, is that ability to inspire others to want to be part of a high performance functional team And by doing that, what they're actually doing is they're learning to mentor. So too often we conflate mentor, manager, and leader as if they're one homogenous term, and they're not. They're very specific. So a manager tells people what to do. A leader inspires people to do things. But a mentor is the transformative leader who's able to not only inspire people, but pass on how to inspire others for the future. So a mentor is like a leader who trains future leaders. And that's really what I want. I want these youngsters to be able to mentor whoever it is in their future life. Even if they don't choose the fire service, I want them to be able to mentor their children to be good people who understand how to give back to the community, how to support the social fabric of their family, of their friends, of the community at large, of whatever group they're associated with. And it doesn't have, not every, even though, like we talked about, we focus it through the lens of the fire department, it doesn't have to be. We've had 2 of our explorers go to the Air Force, and they're doing a section of firefighting called aircraft rescue firefighting. And ultimately, they do want to come back and become firefighters, but they're going to take these same concepts and they're going to apply it to their roles in the military. And that's fantastic. And what I would like for them to be able to do in their, whatever their time period is in the military, is to be able to take what they know as far as being able to inspire leadership and pass it on to someone else in the military who might stay longer than them. And so it's just this, it's a collective effect. It's that compounding effect, like we talked about, of that 1% constantly snowballing and getting bigger and bigger, but not just for you, being able to pass it on to the next person. So you take this wealth of knowledge and understanding and ability to inspire others, and you teach the next person how to do the same thing you do, so they can pass it on to the next person and the next person, because ultimately the fire service that's what it was built on. It was built on the tradition. We refer to it as our fire service, firehouse culture. But it's the lessons of the past being absorbed and reapplied into a new time period of today. And we're going to give those same lessons and ideals and success concepts, and we're going to pass them on to the next generation of firefighters, professional firefighters, so that they can give them to the next generation, and so on.
Right. And so you mentioned, the concept of lifting weights and strengthening. And to me, I see you, allowing these young people to form the strength and practice, these philosophies and these leadership qualities, and strengthening those. It's so remarkable. And I love how you've had the opportunity to see some of those participants in action, namely, the story of the gentleman that jumped in and basically rescued the man that had fallen right in front of him. And when something is that deeply integrated and strengthened, it's inevitable for them to carry it throughout their life, which is why this program is so amazing. And I'm just so thankful that it exists. And I'm thankful that I discovered it as well. And it was only through those events that I attended that I was able to learn about it and actually see them in action as they interface with the community. So you have a lot to be proud of, Captain Sheehy. So would you say that learning in the firefighter career pathway is an ultimate win for you once these participants go through? Or is it an ultimate win for you to just integrate these characteristics and have them, kind of decide at the end of the program, or once they've established themselves for a while and decided what they want to do and what direction they want to move in?
Yeah, on some level, I think it's both. Ultimately, the win is probably bigger for them, and I would want it to be bigger for them. If there's anything I could give them that would make them successful in life, I'd happily give it to them. I hope these concepts are that. I hope that this experience is something that will set them up for success in life. The fire service doesn't hand out a lot of trophies. Most of what we do is just expected of us. So I guess in some way I do take, I kind of view their success as like a little little trophy for myself. I don't want to shine the nails too much. I'm just saying, I think that even though their success is 100% on their efforts alone, in some way, I guess I do kind of take a little bit of pride, might be the right word, that I got to see one of them. It's more of a, it's probably the same feeling I see when I see my son succeed. And I don't want to infantilize these teenagers, but I'm just saying that it's kind of that same idea where it's like, it's something I was able to show them and maybe even give them as one of these concepts. They were able to apply it, and then they were able to succeed. And the same way I would put on my proud dad face if I saw my son did that, I kind of do the same thing with these explorers. And that when I see them succeed, in no way do I detract from their efforts, because that's what got them there. But I do like to kind of think to myself that, hey, maybe that's why I call it a win for the post.
Right.
And myself being a part of the post, I guess it's a small win for me too.
Wonderful. And so how can the community support your efforts? How can the community step in and support the Firefighters Explorer program? And what events do you have, on the horizon?
So the community has always been super supportive of the Explorer program, just in general. Like, you've been to the pancake breakfast and so on. So most people are super receptive, super supportive. As a nonprofit organization, we're always looking for new revenue streams. We are usually a support group. We're a support wing for other organizations, so it's rare for us to do our own fundraising events. But we do one every year. It is at our fire station in the Colonies on 19th and Campus in Upland, and it's the Battalion 1 open house, and it is on the second Saturday of every October. And the Explorer Post does a pancake breakfast, and we take donations. Sometimes we do, if we can, we'll do a raffle, and we'll raffle off gift baskets, usually from some donated items. So if the community was interested in supporting, come on out to the open house. Check out the open house. Not only can you see what the San Bernardino County Fire does in Battalion 1, see all the services that are offered by San Bernardino County Fire Department, you can also see the Explorers in action doing their pancake breakfast gig. And if you're so inclined, maybe chuck a couple bucks into one of the booths.
And so you said this happens every second Saturday of October.
Yes.
So then in this case, it would be October 14th. So everybody mark your calendars for October 14th, which is going to be the second Saturday of October this year. And I want everybody to come out and support this amazing organization and get their pancake breakfast. And you'll be hearing about it again, because as we approach, I'm going to invite you again, Captain Sheehy, to talk about and to promote this program, because it's essential on so many levels. And I'm just so grateful to you, I'm sure, and as the community is grateful to you for heading it in the way that you're heading it, and developing these young people into becoming the best versions of themselves that they can be.
Well, thank you very much. And look, the real question that everybody wants to know is, were the pancakes any good?
They were delicious, and
okay,
the syrup
right,
was even warm. The eggs were cooked to perfection. They're usually, maybe a little bit soft or watery or kind of burnt. They did everything so perfectly, and with this smile, which is so inspiring, right? To get teenagers to do something that most would be considering or would consider to be laborious, right? Doing it with a smile and as a team, it's just really inspiring to me, and I'm sure to so many others in the community. What other feedback have you received from the community at large?
Everyone actually did say the pancakes were good, which I appreciate, because you're always rolling the dice when teenagers are cooking your food. So it's nice to hear that they came out edible.
Yes, perfectly fluffy, brown, golden brown on both sides, no raw batter in the center, and they weren't burned. They were perfectly done.
Well, it's a good thing they nailed them that day for sure. But for the most part, I kind of mentioned that we're actually a support wing for most other nonprofits, which is 100% true. So the Foothills, that's a nonprofit that runs the bike race. So mostly what we do is we support other nonprofits with just labor, and we do anything that we're asked. We'll help out with any logistics, and that's kind of how we see our role as supporting the community. Is whatever the community asks the Post to help be supported, that's what we're there for. And so not just pancakes, not just bike races, but anything. We've helped out with toy drives. We've helped out with the MDA Association. Basically anything that people ask, if they need labor to come out or someone to help them handle logistics, that's what we do.
I love it. And I love the program that you're heading. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Everybody support the Firefighters Explorer program and learn more about it. It is an amazing, amazing program for young men and young women today. Thank you so much for being with us today, Captain Sheehy.
Thank you so much for having me, putting the word out about the Explorer Post. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So everybody listening right now, hey, stay posted. I was fortunate enough to cover the Pasadena Rose Parade this past Monday. It was incredible. So don't forget to visit Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Also, if you guys are looking for something fun to do this evening, don't miss tonight's game of the Empire Strikers, our professional indoor soccer team who will be playing at the Toyota Arena in Ontario this evening with tickets starting at just $5. Kickoff starts at 6:05. Do not miss it, anybody. They will be playing the Tropics this evening. All right, don't miss my interview with Dr. Ed Eng. He is the best-selling author of The Accidental Mayor, From the Side Streets of Chinatown to the Main Street of City Hall. He is currently a council member and former mayor of La Mirada and a seasoned executive with 25 plus years of diverse industry experience in government, media, consulting, and engineering. Previously, Dr. Eng was the regional president of Los Angeles Times. During that time, he received the Innovator of the Year award for his ethnic partnership strategy that catapulted the Times to become the largest metropolitan daily newspaper in the country. He also served as an advisory board member for a Fortune 100 company and several startups. Dr. Eng holds a doctorate in organizational leadership, an MBA, an MS, and a BS in engineering. In conjunction with his academic work, Dr. Eng teaches strategy and management as an adjunct professor at several universities. Next week, we will have Matt Wilson and Maya Ivanova of Wilson Ivanova Certified Public Accountants. Matt is a founder and partner of Wilson Ivanova Certified Public Accountants Incorporated and a member of the firm's Tax and Credit Oversight Committee. Since starting his career in 1995, his focus has been primarily serving privately held companies with a concentration in construction, manufacturing, and logistics by providing extensive tax planning, business mergers and acquisitions, and a succession plan to businesses of all sizes. Matt is a past president of the Inland Empire chapter of Cal CPA, past chair and current member of the Accounting Advisory Board at California State University at San Bernardino, and a member of the California State University's Dean's Advisory Board. Maya is also a founding partner with Wilson Ivanova Certified Public Accountants and manages the Audit and Assurance Services Division. Maya started her career in public accounting in 2007 with the local CPA firm. Maya has over 15 years experience in auditing and business consulting for small to medium-sized, closely held businesses. Maya is responsible for planning and supervising financial statements, audits, reviews, and compilations for clients in different industries. Also, Maya has extensive experience providing accounting and consulting services to clients in the manufacturing and construction industries, including tax planning, budgeting, and profitability analysis. Everybody, do not miss next week's program. We'll see you then.